Hi there, Professor Green. It's James here, and I'm filming actually from India. I thought I'd give you a little glimpse. I'm in Pune, and I'm just about to do a 3-day workshop at Symbiosis International School, starting tomorrow. So I want to get this out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I've chosen the first option of debunking myths, and I'm going to talk about two of the articles that you shared with us with the Scoop It, both of them regarding the learning styles. So the first one was Howard Gardner's Multiple Intelligences Are Not Learning Styles, and the second one was called Why the Widespread Belief Learning Styles Are Not Just Wrong is not just wrong, it is also dangerous. Okay, so I've had quite a bit of experience with learning styles. I've taught a unit a few different times with grade 3 kids about how people learn, and that unit always ends with the multiple intelligences, and we spend some time talking about the multiple intelligences with the kids. We talk about other things too, but with the MIs, they transition well. The language transitions well with kids. So a verbal linguistic learner, we would say, would be word smart. Visual spatial would be art smart. Interpersonal, me smart, and so on and so forth. People smart and nature smart and art smart. There's all 8 of them. And so when Howard Gardner wrote that article a few years ago, I saw it and I read it, and at that time and even now it's still he confirmed what I always sort of felt, that you can be a people smart person, you could be a me smart person, you could be an art smart person. It doesn't mean that that's the style in which you learn. To me, it was always that's a strength. That's one of your strengths, but it doesn't mean that the other 7 cannot also be strengths. And so the way that we use that with kids is we would do an MI test, and we'd see where we tested strongly and where we tested not so strongly. And we would set goals, and we would use our strengths to prop up our weaknesses, so that maybe our weakness became a second strength or a third strength. An example would be, let's just say I'm a music smart person. I'm not a number smart person. So maybe somehow I can use music to help with my math. And so those are the types of things that we would do. So as I was saying, it was sort of my intuition that regarding that stuff, and then regarding MIs and not being learning styles, and my intuition got a little bit stronger. It became stronger and stronger as I was introduced to Carol Dweck and her work on mindset. And when you use that lens, it fits perfectly. So a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. If I was to peg a student as being only word smart, maybe they develop a mindset that they can't learn in other ways because they're a word smart person. So then it becomes a fixed mindset, and that doesn't help anybody. And I know that Carol Dweck's I know she's not a neuroscientist, but in that Neuroscience for Educators article that you shared with us, she's mentioned at least 2 times, and I think she's a cognitive psychologist, and I think the 2 of them, it's not apples and oranges, it's more 2 eggs in the same basket sort of thing. So let's see. With the whole mindset, it's just getting away from a fixed mindset. And in that second myth article, the one that's called "Why the Widespread Belief Learning Styles Are Not Just Wrong, It's Also Dangerous," the author of that article, he says, "We are not as limited as we think we are." And again, that's a perfect. That's getting away from a fixed mindset. So it was nice to see that language was in there, and it sort of goes with how I think about all of this stuff. So just moving on. So how do the MIs, how does it work? How does it connect to the work that Carrie does, the stuff that we've been learning about? And so it's not a perfect fit, although one of the examples I'm going to share sort of is pretty close. So Carrie, just some of the examples he shared with us spacing. So instead of a 2-hour study period, you do 2 1-hour study periods. He talked about another strategy of the benefit of starting a long-term project as fast as you can, and then taking deliberate breaks. He coined that phrase interleaving, or maybe it wasn't him, but he brought that interleaving strategy up, where initially it might be okay to just work on one skill, but you sort of plateau when that happens, and so to work on multiple skills at the same time is better for learning. So all these strategies, these ways of knowing, to me they promote difference, just like, and I know that their strategies and the multiple intelligences are more ways of knowing, but they both promote the same thing. They both promote difference. And the way I read it with Carrie is that you want to use spacing, you want to start long-term projects, and you want to do interleaving, maybe all at the same time. But the big one, the one that really attaches the two, is the perceptual learning modules, which I've, as you can see from my blog post, really hard time getting my head around them. They seem to help only knowledge. I mean, some of my classmates have said, well, it's a starting point and connections can be built from there, and so I get it. But then when I was researching all this, I came across an article, a meditation article. I think it was called Meditation Helps Increase Attention Span. That's what it was. And in that article, they talk about if you can increase in perception leads to better attention. That's what the study was after, and that's what they found. But what followed from that is that when you have better attention, the chances of your results being better in a long-term project also increase. So now I have two positives: better attention plus maybe PMLs also as starting points. So now I have two good reasons why I really need to try this. On page, and then to bring it back full circle, and in the text on page 184, he says that these PMLs are active learning, and they span the 5 senses. And if you go back to Gardner and you look at those multiple intelligences, they also span the 5 senses. So I liked how that debunking myth connected with Carrie, and then how it comes back to it's all about, especially the the PLMs. It comes back to the senses, and at the same time, Gardner's multiple intelligences also come back to the senses. So I like how Carrie's strategies and Gardner's ways of knowing. I like the connection. And when you throw in the mindset, the growth mindset, I think that those learning styles as facts. I like how that myth is debunked. I hope that was okay. And I'll talk to you soon on email.